Boys and girls, how are you on this Friday evening? Thank you for joining us on TTTV for the live coverage of round 19 for the TTFL League at Mexico. So, I hope you're all having a good Friday evening so far. I know many of you are probably keeping warm out of the snow if you are heavily snow affected. If not, you're the lucky ones. So, round 19 then at Mexico. We will be live shortly for that. And you have me in the boxes, Steph, as always. Now, if you have not seen round 18 at all, I do recommend you watching that at all as well. So, look back on the channel and watch round 18. And for those who have not seen the results or anything, I'll advise you within the next 5 seconds just to cover your ears, as I'm going to give you going through what happened around round 18 very quickly. So for those who covered their ears, and for those who watched it, you probably will know that Hamilton is the season 3 round drivers world champion, and he's taken that with pride and worked hard for it. But not all of it is over yet. We still have got another championship yet to be fulfilled and completed. It's the constructors. So without all further ado, in respects, we're going to go through with the drivers and the constructors standings respectfully. Starting off with the drivers first, then we have got season 3 world champion Hamilton at top with 256 points, with Siege in second with 155 points. We've got Spike in third with 143. We've got the Gore in fourth with 125 points. We've got Lambo in fifth with 121. We've got Spaghetti in sixth with 108. We have got Sinclair in seventh with 91. We have got Maze in 8th with 77. We've got Poe in 9th with 73 points. We've got Plaster in 10th with 59. We've got IDP in 11th with 52 points. We've got Streef in 12th with 43. We've got SJ Miller and Adam K tied in there for 13th place for 37 points each for them. In 15th, we've got Squeezy in 25th. 25 points. We've got Damien in 16th with 24 points. We've got Maximus in 17th with 22 points. We've got Rapid in 18th with 16 points. We've got Zenki in 19th with 12 points. And C3 there in 20th there with 6 points then. So that is the driver standings. Then going through into the constructors, where it's still ongoing for in terms of title. We have got the Red Bulls then at top with 314 points, followed by the McLarens in second with 287. We've got Renaults in third with 222. We've got the Mercedes in fourth with 205. We've got Sauber in fifth with 193. We've got the Force India in sixth with 159 points. We've got the Ferraris in seventh with 125 points. We've got the Haas in eighth with 102 points. We've got Toro Rosso in ninth with 86 points. And the Williams there in 10th. Then we have 63 points then. So that is drivers and the constructors there all wrapped up then for you. So with Mexico tonight then, the old classic track, well, not exactly racing on the old classic track, we would be loved to if it was, but unfortunately it has been remodernised since I believe 2015-2016. So Mexico then has changed a little bit in certain places, but not a huge amount of. It has been raced back in these days in the 80s, where the last corner particularly was a very long, fast right-handing curve. But unfortunately, that's been cut down a bit to improve safety and for all the drivers and spectators, including the marshals as well. And obviously, it cuts into a bit of a stadium complex, which has been brilliantly built. So Mexico is a great track and it has a great history. It has had Mexican drivers, but only one has won the track itself, hence why it has the older driver Jose Orlando Rodriguez as is the name of the track itself in his honour for running on home turf. So we'll just wait now for the drivers then just to ready up and get rolling, even though we're 2 minutes behind schedule of time of getting the race going. But I'm sure it will get very sorted very quickly. We have got a few new drivers in as well, which we'll go through with qualifying once they're out on track as well. So once we get going on qualifying, I will flick onto cameras respectively onto the new drivers, getting to know them and get to introduce them into the league, and also feature the Season 3 World Champion as well, which will be very interesting next season as well, where we're going to be having three champions fighting for one particular crown. But there are going to be like changes towards next seasons in terms of track layouts, which I could go through with you, but it'll be long-winded, obviously headed into qualifying in a minute. But obviously once I get full information of it, which I have got most of it, just waiting for a couple of bits and pieces of key information, we'll go through with you all so you know what else going on for next season. But I'll probably more likely announce it maybe next week or the last race in particular. So then with the drivers then just readying up, we have got almost a very full grid here as well, so amazing turn up for tonight for the lads. So it's great to see this high numbers, especially for the Mexican Grand Prix. And you know, the constructors battle is still ongoing, so all to play for. So heading into 18 minutes of enjoy pure masterclass qualifying session from all the drivers. The question is this when the weather has effects on? Obviously Mexico is situated on the equator border itself, especially where the track is laid. Anything can be thrown into weather complexes. So just waiting now for everyone just to get themselves going, and obviously hit the buttons at the right time, so get over me. You do not see anything going. So then 18 minutes of qualifying is underway, and we have got a clear sky, apart from that little strand of cloud there as you can see on the screen, but that ain't going to prove anything or threat of rain whatsoever for now, unless I've been told otherwise. But I'm not going to be looking into the comments and saying what the weather conditions is, because I want to be seeing it as a surprise. So no one yet to venture out on track. I'm presuming all the drivers there just getting themselves motivated and ready and pumped all to go along their setups all in the cars. As we can hear a few engines there roaring up, we have got a Williams coming out first. Now, who is first out from the Williams garage then? We will find out in a minute once he goes onto the track, and there's a quite fair few cars coming out as well. And it is Fletcher who is the first man out on track. So then, Fletcher, obviously many people will probably hear the name of the word Fletcher from various leagues. He's known as Josh, but he is joined into making debut in the TTFL then, and he'll be the first man out on track, and he'll also be featured in a little track guide very shortly. So obviously there is a few cars out there as well. We've got Maximus out there as well, along with Sinclair and along with Poe, Saki Kid, Squeezy, Nexus Jack as well, a very own Nexus Jack, who's also the comms for Sunday as well. It's also great to see him featuring as well in the debut, one of the debut links as well for Friday, so it's great to see him out there as well, and also Alan Clay as well out there as well. So as the track is very short, we're going to be joining on board then with Fletcher then being the track guide. So getting everything rid of the screens for the time being then. So then coming around the last corner now, Fletcher is coming over the line now to start his flying lap. Now heading down straight, there's a very long straight here. Mexico DRS will be now active, exceeding well over 200 miles an hour for sure. Heading down towards 10-1 is crucial to get your braking point here, just perfectly here, just braking just before the 100 metre board. Fletcher getting a bit daring, they're going into turn 1 there. Missing apex of turn 1, but clips it on turn 2, in turn 3 here. Make sure you get it right on the exit, which he does. Now heading into the next DRS zone. Heading down towards turn 4. Again, crucial to get your braking point here, spot on here for this part. which he does have brilliantly there. Gets it around turn 4 down to turn 5. It's a very slow corner here into turn 6, which is a kind of double apex corner on the right hander. Gets it done, nicely done there for Fletcher. Now heading up towards turn 7. This is a very fast SSS, so into turn 7, into turn 8, turn 9, and then turn 10, and then a flick into turn 11. Fletcher there keeping it very stable there, so for a little bit of a moment there, but it gets away with it. Heading down towards turn 12, then crucial here to get it right into this section. Again, touch it there nicely. Now heading turn 13, the very slow hairpin, and it's probably the slowest point of the track into turn 14. Again, getting a nice spot on there into turn 15, which then becomes turn 16 for this last curve. Then, what is it going to be like for Fletcher? Then coming over the line, it is a 1:13.7 in. Is the benchmark targeted in, so that is the target for Fletcher then to get it all spot on there. Most of the drivers there selecting for the hyper softs, a few selecting for the softs, and a couple of them for the ultras. That is your Thai compounds for today. Next is Jack then. Comes over the line in P2 then with a 1:15.4 then, so not bad lap time there for Jack there. Adam K then coming in P3 then with a 1:17.1, which then gets knocked down to P4 there due to Saki Kid then. One also, another of David Lynch along with Nexus Jack making his debut here, setting a 1:15.8 there in P3 on the set of ultras there, so good job there from Saki Kid. Max was there in P5, which then gets knocked down into P6, or should I say now P7 with a 1:17.5. Obviously, the Lambo there in P5, marking it as a reserve for tonight, going into P5 there with 1:16.3. Funky, well, I'd like to just call him Funky, it just makes it easier, just call him Funky, it's easier. Anyway, one of our debutants as well, cleaning himself up into P3 at the moment with 1:15.5 there, so good job there by Funky. And C3 in P7 with a 1:17.272 on a set of super softs there, so C3 then potentially maybe doing the alternative strategy then, that might pay him off. Obviously the rapid deck getting well up there in P2, 1:15.1 there for the Mercedes driver. Been looking for some good decent amount of points here tonight as well, so drivers there literally put themselves out there and get themselves going. So yeah, there we've got like a few drivers in the pits at the moment. So obviously half the field at the moment has set lap time, the other half have not just yet. Still early days though, about literally just 12.5 minutes. So it is good there to see everyone there getting out on track, although will be congested in some parts, so they will be just focusing, getting themselves to breathing space, not getting themselves a bit tucked up behind the car in front, and especially if they were slower than you. So all the drivers there just literally doing all they can just to try not to get in each other's ways and try push on to get the perfect lap time as much as they can. Charlie then, one of our also debuts as well, making a debut tonight, representing the Toro Rosso for tonight, so be interesting to see what pace he can do and see how well he performs here tonight, especially around Mexico. It's crucial to get yourself off the board and get yourself going, especially in terms of points wise, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do in his marker pace as well. So at the moment then going through into qualifying wise of people sending lap times, whilst there's the other flags going around. That's probably due to drivers just getting out of the way, not holding up the car behind. So at the moment then, people that said lap time is Fletcher then with a 1:13.7, with Nexus Jack in second with a 1:14.9, got Rapid in third with a 1:15.1, Funky in fourth, or to say okay, Funky in my case is in P4, Alan K in P5 there with a 1:15.7, Saki Kid in 6th with 15.8, Lambo in 7th with 1:16.3, Z3 in 8th with 1:17.2, and Maximus there in 9th with 1:17.5. That is the currently positions so far of the people to set lap times, yet there is the second half of the field that were in the pits just starting to venture out, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do, including, as I will say, that Charlie there has made a mistake now. We'll turn back on him. Yes, he has. Charlie there making a mistake at the start of the second sector there, almost getting away there, and I think he got in the way of Hamilton. Yes, he did. So I don't know if Hamilton was on a lap there, but Charlie looks like he impeded him. Obviously, the stewards may have a look on that in particular, although Hamilton will not be happy. Although won't be happy with Charlie getting away, but he will be happy that he is the Season 3 World Champion, and everyone knows now in the field that he'll be a third person threat for Season 4 title. Or could we have anyone else springing up surprise for next season? But still, Hamilton looks like he's just going around to start his flying lap then. So Hamilton there is away, starting on a flyer. Charlie then, whilst Plaster there has opted to retire. I do not know if Plaster there made a mistake, but won't be ideal for him. Meanwhile though, Charlie comes in at 11th. Obviously the lap time like that is due to his mistakes, so he'll be looking to improve, especially for sure. Meanwhile though, I should say Squeezy there going up into P2 with 140.2. Also another reservist for tonight as well, along with Poe as well. Poe there up into P3. Good job from there from Poe. Looks like they're trying to lay down the marker, trying to challenge Fletcher as possible for the front row at least. Siege meanwhile though is up into P6 then with a 115.159. So good lap time there for the Mercedes boys, lying on the third row grid for them. So aiming again for more points as much as they can. Meanwhile though, Darren, where is Darren? Looks like Darren is just looks like prepping himself up for an out lap there, get himself going, but yet to set lap time. So Spike is also in the pits. Hamilton meanwhile though was saying he was like down the lane at the bottom with no lap time set at the moment, but he sets a 114.759 then. So just in P3 ahead of Poe, though he'll be potentially eyeing up the front row for sure and try and see if he can get down towards Fletcher, because I know Hamilton likes to be at the front and get himself going, but anything can happen, especially in Mexico. There's that one mistake, particularly in the first sector, will hamper your lap for the rest of it. And especially anytime you lost in sector 1, it will cost you dearly throughout the lap. So just under 8 minutes to go then, and most of the field have now started to set a good decent lap time as we speak. Still waiting on at least 3 to set a lap time. Meanwhile that is a Toro Rosso going slow. Now is that Charlie there just going slow? No, it wasn't. Was it Saki? Yeah, it was Saki Kid. Saki Kid then just keeping out of the way from everyone, being a respectful driver there, did not holding up anyone. That is probably the cause of the other flags. Now, is he going out for another lap, or is he going for it in lap into the box? Nope, he is going out for another lap. He's just prepping himself up. Hopefully he hasn't let his tyres go down too cold. But meanwhile, like, we're going bold with him anyway. Heading down towards turn 1 with the DRS active, with literally overtake mode kicked in for fuel straight line speed. Going through sector 1 then. Looks a bit tentative there, obviously taking the curves for the second part of turn 2 and turn 3, but very wary of turn 1 not hitting the apex. Now heading down towards turn 4 then, what it will be like for Saki. Again, hitting the apex there spot on, into turn 5 as well, very neat and tidy. A little bit of wheel spin there, but gets away with it into turn 6. Hits the apex of this double apex of the second part. Heading down up towards 7, 8, 9 and 10 and 11. Then into through 7 and into 8. Into turn 9. And then turn 10 and turn 11. And literally full confidence there. There was a little bit of a nervy moment. Maybe just in case of the car, and settling into turn 12. Again, keep it under control, a little bit wide there, but keeps it within the lines though. In turn 13 and in turn 14, again getting the exit there. Okay, lock up into 15, that might hamper him a little bit into turn 16, keeping very wide there, so taking a very wide line there, and does 115.4. so Saki there taking a very weird line into the last corner. Maybe that might help him, for sure, but if he kept it on the inside, maybe probably gain like at least a couple more tenths maybe, but all down to the drivers and precisions of their own driving style and how they take the lines. Maybe just a case of carrying more speed to help him particularly down the straight. Maybe just iron up a tactic maybe for the race, we do not know. So it'll be all interesting to see. Meanwhile though, next is Jack then. Our very own comes for the Sunday of TTF2, making his debut for TTFL. Lying in P3 at the moment on the set of hypers, so not bad there for Jack. He'll be eyeing up for potentially going up on the front row maybe. Be a bit of a challenge though. He has got good respect for drivers around that will challenge it for sure. But meanwhile though, coming around the last corner, what was it like for Jack? What was the lap? Not much in improvement, no time improved. So his original time then as literally stands as it is for now. Obviously into the last 5 minutes, or under the 5 minutes I should say. Be interesting to see what will happen in times. Meanwhile though, Sinclair there goes straight up to the top there with a 1:13.362 then. So he's laying down the benchmarker then for see if Fletcher can challenge. So Mr. Sinclair is up on P1 and he'll be hoping that remains there for sure. Though I'm sure the drivers behind him in terms of Fletcher, Squeezy, Jack, Hamilton, Poe, and potentially Lambo as well, be eyeing up to go for pole, unless they're all thinking for strategy and not to start on the hypers. You can get a good decent amount of laps in the hypers, maybe about, if you look after them carefully, 7 to 9 laps. We'll probably see drivers coming into pits to change over to the Supersoft compound and go to the end. Though it depends on how aggressive they'll go in terms of qualifying to get themselves well up there. Meanwhile though, our very own Maze, our race league owner, is 9 in P7 at the moment, so not bad there for Maze. Definitely now getting to terms of grips with his wheel in particular and putting up some good performance there at the moment. So 9 in P7 there, that will definitely help out Maze to an absolute treat and see if we can do well in the race. Meanwhile though, Season 2 World Champion Siege lying in P9 at the moment, so the Mercedes there lying in P8 and P9. The boys there will be aiming to get themselves well up on pole, or well near up to the top as much as possible to help each other in the race in particular. Obviously they're both on a set of ultras respectfully between Rapid and Siege, so they're eyeing for potential the only one stop long stints just to help them out through the race maybe. So we're going to be going into potentially in a minute a very busy last couple of minutes, as we have got Squeezy, who is the first lot of the front runners to be out on track, followed by Hamilton as well. So Squeezy will be the first one to track in terms of going for lap time, and then followed by Hamilton as well. So them two particularly are aiming to see if they can nab pole position going into this last couple of minutes shootout in terms for that. And also other drivers there are out on track or starting to appear out on track to aim to improve their position. And also this man out here as well, Spike then, the very first world champion in season 1, not yet to set a lap time, so he is indeed under pressure here and he's hoping to make potentially 1 lap run, which will be very risky if he gets a mistake or gets held up, which will not help him at all. But he is going to risk it just to save his tyres. Meanwhile though, we have got drivers that are retiring, I'm presuming they're in the pits. So Maze and Alan Kay, they're respectfully just retiring, thinking that's the best they can do, and see where it goes from there. But meanwhile though, Squeezy then setting up for his 1 pole position shootout run. He'll be eyeing Sinclair's time, a 13.3, doing it on a set of ultras. Okay, the ultras will be a little bit slower than the hypers, but still produce good amount of grip and speed and pace with it. We'll go on board with him for a little bit, keeping on the lap times as well. Again, Squeezy keeping it all under control. Very stable so far in his car. Taking a very wide line there to help him out through the corners, to make a very quick thread on the needle. Now we're heading up into the last sector then. Oh, when he goes a little bit deep there, that's not going to help him at all. Coming into turn 13 and into turn 14. Back in, wanted to go there again, very unstable, going into turn 15, but now coming into turn 16. Where is it going to be for Squeezy? What's the lap time? And the flag drops then, and it puts him into P2 then. So Squeezy then at the moment in P2. Meanwhile, Hamilton then has to settle there for 4th place with a 113.8 then. So at the moment then, Sinclair is out there on pole. Meanwhile, Fletcher is coming up with a response. Lambo there is up into P5, next is Jack into P6. So Siege there is also retired, but keep an eye on Fletcher then. He'll be the only one maybe to potentially challenge for pole, but also keep an eye on Poe as well. Meanwhile though, Poe though goes 113.9. Where is Fletcher going to do? A little bit unstable coming through the last corner, and he has to settle for P3 then. So Darren Sinclair then is currently on pole, but we've still got a couple of drivers then out on track though. See what they can do, because they might bring up a surprise. We keep an eye on them. Rapid then coming around the last couple of corners then into turn 15 and then into turn 16. Where will this put Rapid? Taking a little bit of the wide line there, and he puts himself into P7 then to Rapid then up into P7. Now where is Charlie? He is the last man to set a lap time. Current runs last sector then. Sinclair still holds P1, but where will it be for Charlie? And Charlie then just peels into pits then. So Darren Sinclair then will be starting from pole along with Squeezy and then Fletcher. That is your top 3. Season 3 World Champion Hamilton will be starting in P4. So that is looking of your top 4 so far. We will be running through the grid order once Charlie has opted to retire the car straight away. Otherwise we'll just be waiting around here for the next minute, just killing time. Go on Charlie, be a lad, just hit the option button, go down to retire car. There we go, lovely job. So then, Darren Sinclair taking pole, Hamilton starting from P4. So then, your grid order then be Darren Sinclair then in P1, followed by Squeezy in P2. Fletcher will be starting on the second row with P3, along with Hamilton in P4. Poe in P5 will be starting alongside with Lambo in P6. Rapid in 7 with Jack in P8. Maze is in P9 then, along with Funky in P10. Maximus in 11 with Siege in P12. Saki Kid in 13th with Annie K in 14th. Charlie in 15th with C3 in 16th. Plus then in P7. P17 not set lap time, and also Spike there in P18 not setting a lap time as well then. So that is your grid order then for the Mexican Grand Prix. Now heading into the race. It's a bit more cloudier than normal, but it's still reasonably sunny for the Mexican Grand Prix, so that is probably one sight for the drivers I'd love to see. Although looking at it, the clouds may hold a surprise feature, maybe. Or maybe a little bit of drop of rain. That will just spice up the race nicely. But for now though, for the start though, it will be, looks like a dry race for now, unless the weather conditions change. Which I'm praying, but I can't pray or jinx anything. I'm just here to commentate. So then we're just waiting for the drivers then just to get themselves strategy sorted out, and focusing and getting themselves prepped and ready, especially on the formation lap. So then, going straight into the race then. That is a very, very shocking one. This is unusual. So, going straight into the race then, with formation lap being taken off then. And it's like out and away we go from Mexico. What is the start's like? The start is like looking so good then, heading down towards turn 1. It is going to be very, very tight going down turn 1. Crucial here not to make a mistake here whatsoever. There is jockeying for positions going on through turn 1. How's everyone getting through turn 1 so far? Oh, there is a spinner, and we have got a spinner now. It's Saki Kid in the background there, and there's people there making wing damage here as well. So Saki Kid then getting wing damage, and it looks like there's a Haas then. I believe that is Maximus as well getting caught up in there as well. So we've got various drivers there getting caught up in the back there in that turn 1 melee there. But meanwhile though, Squeezy there leading from Lambo and Poe in P3. Whilst we have got Jocelyn in opposition there. And that's Darren there. Darren there starting on pole. What's happened to Darren? He's down in P16. Now, did he get caught up somewhere? Did Darren get caught up? Because he's down in the back. So I do not know if Darren's got any ring damage. But that has definitely hampered his potential for a win. He'd be praying now for a safety car. But he's now getting himself underway. He has now got a lot of work to do. Meanwhile though, Squeezy there leading from Lambo. Only by 8 tenths though. Coming around the first last corner for the first time. So they Squeezy there P1 with Lambo P2, Poe in P3, Rapid in P4, then Fletcher down in P5 then. He was eyeing up for a move on Rapid, going down the main straight then. What is it going to be like for Rapid? Can he hold off on his position, or is he Fletcher got him down by turn 1? It's very close there. Rapid then defended in from the outside, which comes to the inside for turn 2. Keeping it stable there, Fletcher looking for a switchback opportunity. Looks like if he gets good acceleration here, yes he does. Looks like he's got the traction, and it's side by side once again, heading down towards turn 4. As Fletcher got the move done this time, Rapid there squeezing them out on the braking zone. Very fair and respectfully, still side by side around turn 4 into turn 5. Rapid there going for the switchback, gets a little bit tagged there by Frunky, but gets away with it. And Fletcher there takes P4 there from Rapid. Meanwhile though, there is a tape going on. Maze and Siege jumped next to Jack there respectfully, so Jack then maybe made a mistake going wide. He's now under threat by C3 who's behind him. Meanwhile there is yellow flags in sector 1 and sector 2 which now happily disappeared, which is a good thing. And we're still all going no matter what. Every single driver, 18 drivers still out and going on track as we speak. Meanwhile though, Maze there he's now under pressure there. He is under pressure by Siege. Siege will be eyeing up to look for an overtake for the Renault driver. Meanwhile Squeezy with a 1:16.7 as the fastest lap time there. So, and DRS is now enabled, and it will be enabled at the end of this lap. So the detection point will be starting at the end of this lap, particularly because there's only 1 detection zone and 2 DRS straights. Meanwhile though, Siege going side by side with Maze, and has he got the move covered? Looks like he has, and Siege then going up there, overtaking Maze up into P8. Meanwhile, there's a scrap there for P5, faltering Hamilton, Rapid and Funky. Hamilton then just get past them both. Rapid still not giving up. He's still trying to eye the move on Hamilton, and his Rapid got it. Has Rapid got covered on Hamilton? Yes, he has, although Hamilton will be now under threat by Funky, who's coming through as well. Hamilton then losing out 2 position there. 2 Rapid and Funky. So Hamilton then not having an ideally good start so far to the Mexican Grand Prix, although he'll be still eyeing up to get an overtake done on the 2 in front of him. But we'll see what happens, as DRS detection will be coming up very soon. And at the moment, it's starting to form a train now for P5. Meanwhile, there is an overtake, and that is Spike then getting the move done on Maximus then. Although Spike there just slowing down, maybe just let Maximus through. Maybe Spike thought the overtake was deemed unfair, and he will go for the move again. He's still side by side there with Maximus. Has Spike got the move done? Yes, he has. He's got the move done this time though, with all respects. So Spike then making himself up the field, up into P12. Meanwhile though, there is overtakes going on. It's Funky and Rapid going through again, and also Rapid then losing out to position there to Funky. But Rapid still not giving up. He's got to be careful of the cars behind him as well, especially from Hamilton, who is eager for a move, and also Siege, his teammate. And then Funky then maintaining P5 for now, and Rapid there just has to settle for just for P6 in the form of this train. Funky then making a good start on his debut as well, faking his first feature of tonight's race, and so far proving He is capable of pressure, although he did go a little bit wide there. That has upset this rhythm, which will now bring Rapid back into contention once again. Rapid then still eyeing to get past that Force India. Easier said than done. He has to be careful how he plants his move. He has got Hamilton behind him, along with Siege and along with Maze. Is a 5-car train behind Frankie. C3 though, meanwhile, picking up a penalty. Naughty, slappy wrist. Meanwhile, focusing on the battle for P5. Frankie now will be under pressure, especially down this main straight from Rapid. Rapid's also under pressure by Hamilton as well. We've got to keep an eye on it as well. Rapid then going out to the outside. Hamilton following the same line. Going around the outside. Can Rapid then make his stick? No, he's not. He's now under pressure there from Hamilton. Hamilton's not going to let him get away with it easily. But Rapid then just escapes further punishment. Although still no move on Funky. Going down the outside. He's on the grass. He's off the grass there. So Rapid there is off the grass and he's come back on. He's still on the outside. But unfortunately, he's going to have grass on his tyres and that's going to happen him completely. Oh, and he's having a spin. Hamilton got caught up and Hamilton's now lost more positions. And also Maze has also got caught up in that. But Maze there gets away with it. Rapid then down into P9. So Rapid there going for the dying move down the outside of Hamilton of Funky there. Meanwhile, as Charlie there goes for a little bit of spin again in the grass in the same spot he did for qualifying, but still keeps himself going. Meanwhile though, Spike there going over an overtake on Nexus Jack then. So Nexus Jack then maybe just had a little bit of a moment, but Spike now up into P11. He's now got to chase down the pair of this train that is forming. Meanwhile though, Siege now on the back of Funky. Meanwhile, there's overtake going on with Fletcher down the main straight as well. Fletcher then overtaking Poe. Poe now down to P4. Meanwhile, Siege and Frankie are going all side by side. And then Siege then up into P5. Frankie down into P6. Meanwhile, though, as we got Nexus Jack in the pits, then first man to be in the pits, then on a set of hypers. Expecting to go a little bit more, but opted to go for a set of ultras then, so that is confirmed. Then Nexus Jack is on for a 2-start. Meanwhile though, Darren Sinclair has retired. What's happened there with Darren? Is he in the pits or is he still on track? Looks like Darren there, so it looks like he's just retired the car. So Darren there, unfortunately, having a good qualifying and not having a good race, and is opted to retire. Meanwhile there, Frankie then picking up a 3-second time penalty then. Off-track excursions, not what he wants. Will be added on to his race time in the end. He's now under pressure from Hamilton. Hamilton's right on the back of him now. Frankie then will just have to keep his cool and try and get close to Siege as much as possible if he wants any DRS to help him down the straight. But he's not close enough. He's now going to be punishing it for this down the main straight. So Frankie then will need a good exit out of here. He looks like he has, although not enough to keep off the back of Hamilton. Hamilton lining up the move. Where's he going to go? Left or right? He's going to go down the left. He's going to move cover to provide turn 1. Looks like he has for the DRS assistance along with the deployment as well. So Hamilton then up into P6. Frankie now down into P7. Meanwhile though, Rapid is into the pits and it's going for a set of super soft set. So maybe we go to the end. It'll be very, very tight. You'd be praying for something like a safety car there just to help him out on terms of tyre saving. Frankie though, still not giving up. He's still on the back of Hamilton. Although Hamilton now would be chasing down Siege. But just a little bit away from Siege at the moment. But still within range though. He's only a second away from Siege. But Frankie there still tagging on the back of him. Maze though has dropped back a little bit from that little bit of a melee, so maybe just protecting himself a little bit or burning his tyres up a bit too much. But all under control at the moment. Meanwhile they will turn attentions onto the battle for P15. Nexus Jack versus Saki Kid for P15. Although Nexus Jack has just recently made a pit stop that season as well to try and catch up and see if he can score any points. Although he goes off very wide there. Jack there goes off very wide there. I thought he had a bit of a moment or maybe lost it back in, but taking a very, very wide line then, taking it off the track to cover himself, but don't want to be doing that too much. You get yourself into a penalty. But Jack now right on the back of Saki. He'll be looking for a good run out of here, which looks like he has. Saki then came very wide there and going off the track as well to try and defend his position. Jack will now have DRS right in slipstream toe. Saki then making a second move. And oh, that was very naughty there from Zaki. Very close there to taking Jack out, but Jack there gets through into P15 with the assist. A bit of a lock up there. That might invite Saki to come back through again to try and see if he can do a switch back, but looks like Jack there has got it covered then. So Jack is up into P15 then. Meanwhile though, Rapid though making a move on Charlie up into P13. So Rapid then will need to get himself onto a charge. Meanwhile though, we have got Fletcher then into the pits. So the first of the lot of the front runners then to come in. So what's the tire going to be? It's a set of ultras then. So Fletcher hoping to do a 2-stop then to help him out. Maze is also into the pits along with Frankie as well. So Toro Rosso, not Toro Rosso, Force India, sorry, versus Renault then. What's it going to be like? Straight out of the box there from Maze then. So Maze has jumped Frankie then. Frankie meanwhile though, maybe just holding on for the penalty sakes, but that's not going to help him at all. Maze then getting out into P11 and Rapid then just coming down the straight. Can he jump Frankie? Yes he has. Rapid there has jumped Frankie then. That is crucial there for Rapid to get in front of him, especially in the battle that he's in at the moment. Waiting on the other front runners then to make a pit stop. Meanwhile though, Saki Kid and Nexus Jack then having another overtake ding dong then. So obviously Nexus Jack back down to 16, Saki up into 15, although Jack is not giving up whatsoever. Again, Jack on a charge, trying to get past Saki Kid. For P15, it's all for battle and pride at the moment. So you get to the points when it gets a bit more personal. Meanwhile though, Saki then go a little bit wide, leaving room there for Jack, just in case he was trying to go free on the move. Saki then going very wide. Jack then, can he make the punishing for it? He's going side by side, heading up into turn 627. Saki then just hanging on for at the moment, although feeling the pressure already with Jack behind him, trying to eye up and move. Jack again going once again wide at that same section, but at the moment just has to settle. Meanwhile though, C3 and Fletcher then having a battle. C3 then getting past on Fletcher then at the moment in P7. Spike as well is also in the mix as well, yet Spike yet to stop whilst Fletcher has. And Spike then having a good start so far. C3 and Fletcher particularly at the moment are having a battle here for P7. Has Fletcher got the move done? Yes he has. C3, can he get the move back on the switchback? No he can't. C3 then will just have to settle for P8 for the time being. Meanwhile though, Fletcher is now on the move up on Spike. Spike will now be feeling the pressure, although Spike yet not to make a pit stop. Starting from the back, going very long. Fletcher right underneath that rear ring of that McLaren. Spike will be doing everything as much as he can to keep Fletcher behind as much as he can. Fletcher then trying to go on the inside now, switches to the outside. Spike then will be on his guard, and he's trying to keep his moving. He's forcing him out fairly there. Again, lock up there. Ooh, almost banging wheels there, side by side through turn 13-14. Spike then being majorly aggressive but fair at the same time to defend P6 from him. He'll be now under threat on this straight, particularly Fletcher there, line up and move, going side by side with Spike, heading down the main straight. Spike will do everything as much as he can to defend it as much as he possibly can, but not at the moment. Fletcher then a little bit of a wiggle down the straight, but gets away with it. Spike there with a lock up, and Spike will just have to accept at the moment for P7 from Fletcher, whilst Fletcher then making a pit stop. Meanwhile there was an overtake going on between Maze and Plaster, which is still ongoing, side by side, Plaster and Maze. This is for the battle of the last points position. Has Maze got the move covered? Yes he has. Plaster then will just have to accept for now that Maze is ahead, but don't rule out Plaster though. He'll be eyeing for potential points. If anything happens in front of him, he'll be happy to take anything for granted. Meanwhile, there is a yellow flag in Sector 1. Now, is that Nexus Jack then making a mistake? Nope, looks like everything's all okay. Maybe maybe Maximus, I'm not too sure. But, anything, we're still all going through reasonably fine here. And it's been non-stop action so far across the field, I'll give you that. Keeps me on my toes and keeps me occupied. But no, with the main battles at the moment, looking forward at the moment, we've got Rapid then, who's coming up to the back of Frankie then. So obviously Frankie has managed to find a way through on Rapid, although Rapid's on 2 lap holder Super Softs, and looks like He's having a tail of the time in the terms of his back ender coming out of place as well, so just needs to keep that in check, although Frankie is starting to come up to the back of Plaster. Also at the same time, got to keep an eye on there's a couple of battles starting to potentially brew up at the front, but at the moment though, Frankie then coming up to the back of Plaster then. Just a little bit back yet to attack, although he is reasonably close now. Is he going to go for a move? Plaster then will be keeping the inside line. He'll be doing as much as he can to defend. Squeezing out Frankie there respectfully. Going down into turn 4. And then Frankie there gets the move down on the outside. So Frankie then up into P11. Plaster down into P12. Plaster now will be under threat by Rapid. And obviously Plaster going a little bit wide. That's not going to help him at all. But at the moment he's got himself covered just for now from Rapid, although Plaster goes off wide and has opened up the move from Rapid there. Plaster has to take to escape through to keep himself out of the damage area, but then Rapid then making the move. Meanwhile though, Poe is into the pits, and there goes C3. So Poe then will be out behind C3, not where he wanted it to be, but he will now have to make the overtake and get it done quickly, even in terms of keeping himself distance and close to the front as much as he possibly can. Meanwhile though, Alan, Kate and Maze battling out, two great friends, also rivals. Maze though making a move down the outside of turn 1 and made it stick. Where's Alan? Is Alan going to come back for him? Alan's just a bit too back. Maze there making a superb masterclass of overtaking there, down into turn 1 around the outside and making it stick. So Maze then on the charge up into P9. Meanwhile though, C3 is now under pressure from Poe, who's made a pit stop. Poe going side by side through the S's, and Poe makes the move stick. Poe there making the move stick there. Nicely jumped there from Poe there. Obviously just coming on the pits and with fresh rubber, giving himself an advantage. But risked the car and made them overtake stick. And respectfully good driven there from Poe and C3 respectfully, making the overtake work. And Poe now up into P7. Mr. Hamilton, was going to say Mr. World Champion, Season 3 World Champion Hamilton, is up into P4 at the moment, chasing down the back of Siege for the podium. Both on the same set of tyre life. So, this is all to play for position wise. Obviously, the top 4 at the moment yet to make a pit stop, so it'll be very close to see when they will be coming in, particularly making their pit stops. For Hamilton there, just a little bit back yet to make a move. Meanwhile they will turn attentions on to the last points position. Frankie on the back of Alan Kay then. Alan Kay then will be mighty relieved that Frankie don't have DRS, but Frankie they're going for the move though. Round turn 4. Not going to work for him just in a moment. Can he get the switch back in through turn 5 and get it down inside in turn 6? He's going for it. Half-hearted there. Alan gives in the room, letting him have the space. But Adam will have the better traction there, keeping it around the outside, although Frankie coming around the outside of turn 7, still side by side on turn 7. Frankie then makes the move done, but he has to go off the track in order to do it now. Question is, will he give up that position? They've been all 4 wheels off the track. Although if it was him, we'll probably say give the position back, but I'm sure Alan will not be happy with that. But Frankie is up into the points from the time being. Squeezy his progress. Meanwhile though, Lambo though leads the way for Williams. Question is, when would he make his pit stop next? Meanwhile though, Fletcher is catching up to Hamilton, and he's catching him up to a quick rate of knots here. So Fletcher is on a charge and a mission to try and get P1, but he will have to get through Hamilton. Although Poe there has retired. What has happened with Poe? What has happened with Poe? Oh, has Poe's lost it? Poe has lost it into the S's. Now the question is, will this be a safety car? Meanwhile, Lambo gets a 5-second stop go. But with Poe now out of the race, and also Lambo and Hamilton are both into the pits as well. Siege meanwhile leads the Grand Prix. He has got Fletcher coming up behind him, along with Squeezy as well. So with Poe out of the race, is it going to be a safety car or a virtual? At the moment it is still clear and Charlie Whiting has opted to still carry on racing. So, as it's still fairly going racing there in two retirements so far, then with Poe and Sinclair. Poe being a very recent one. Meanwhile though, overtakes galore. Frankie then getting up into P9, Alan K down into P10. Has Frankie got the move covered this time round? Looks like he has. So Alan K then has to settle for P10. He has to be careful. He has got Rapid not far up the road behind him, looking for a potential move as well with this as well. Although battle for the lead is also horsing up as well. 3 cars for it. Siege, Fletcher and Squeezy. Current top 3. Potentially making a move. Meanwhile there is yellow flags in sector 2, which happily disappears very quickly. Siege though on older set ultras. Where is he going to go? Siege then peels in off to the pits. Fletcher then takes P1, but Fletcher and Squeezy will be benefited for DRS. Coming down the main straight now. This is for net P1. Squeezy versus Fletcher. Fletcher then keeping on to the inside. Squeezy will have to opt to go around the outside. Can he make it stick? Fletcher then squeezing out fairly there and makes it covered. Squeezy looking for the opportunity of a switchback. Can he get the tracks in the spot on? He has at the moment. Again, DRS both helping each other to defend and attack. Squeezy will have to work and make it long way around as possible. He's going for it. Down the inside, outside, which comes to the inside. Very squeezed there, banging wheels there. Squeezy there, keeping Fletcher out there. Reasonable there. Reasonable attack and defending. And Squeezy then takes P1 off Fletcher then. So Fletcher does have to set for P2. Although Fletcher is not giving up whatsoever. He is going to go for the attack again. Where is he going to find a move and upset Squeezy's rhythm? Or surprise him on his weakness. But at the moment Fletcher though just has to settle for P2. Meanwhile though, Hamilton is on the back of Siege. Siege recently made a pit stop. Hamilton lap before. So Siege then will be opting to try and pull away as quick as he can for Hamilton and try and break the DRS window. Hamilton's not giving up whatsoever. He is keeping that gap reasonably close here and trying not to let Siege pull away whatsoever. Frankie then gets the move done on C3 then. The C3 they're going off heavily wide in the background. That is not going to help him because Adam K is also there as well, ready to pounce and ready to attack. Meanwhile though, we've got 2 lots of battles to keep an eye out. Battle for P1 and a battle for P4 and P5, P6. Hamilton then gets the move done on Siege. Yes, he has. And meanwhile though, there is a change of position. I'm trying to get the camera right quickly as much as possible. Battle for the lead. And this is invited. The back markers into play as well off Charlie. Charlie keeping out of the way of it. Squeezing down to P2. Fletcher in P1. Squeezy though right on the back of Fletcher there, going off a bit of track there. Not what he wants. Picking up a bit there. This will open up Squeezy to an absolute treat here. Squeezy then line up and move. Can he make it stick down in towards turn 12? Going around the outside. And he gets forced out there respectfully. Fair racing. Gets the inside line for 13, which comes outside for 14. Oh, and that's Fletcher there going for a little bit of tap then and spin, and then he collected up Charlie there. So Fletcher then putting his nose there, not where he wanted, and obviously banging the wheels there. And Fletcher there just has to settle there for P2, just for the time being. He will have the arrest and will close up to Squeezy, but at the moment it won't be close enough to look for a move. So all the hard work so far is not paying off just for this time being. Squeezy then will be looking, trying to break away much as possible, break the window of the arrest threat. And looks like he's got it covered just for now. So Squeezy then covered just for the meantime. Meanwhile though, Maximus and next is Jack. That's Jack! Jack's in the wall! What's happened to Jack? Oh, he's got collected there! He's collected C3! C3 got collected in this! And Jack there getting a 5-second stop go for clearing there with C3. So Jack then getting caught up and he's opted to retire the car. Now that surely's got to be a safety car for sure. That is unwanted there. Now at the moment it is strong yellow flags there in sector 2 and sector 3. Lambert there meanwhile picking up penalties. Not what he wants. Yellow flags in still remain in sector 3. We've lost 2 more cars recently. And off next is Jack and C3. But at the moment, no safety car or even a virtual. So, still fairly going as it stands. Meanwhile though, Frankie is catching up to Maze. Battle for P7 on the cards here. Meanwhile though, there is an overtake going on, and that is Siege and Hamilton then. So Siege then still keeping on front of Hamilton then. Maybe Hamilton then made a mistake, although Hamilton's not giving up. He's trying to tackle the move. Where's he going to go for? Battle of the two world champions here. Siege then just keeping ahead of Hamilton. Just for now. Heading down through after 10-3. Siege then breaking away there. Getting the gap there very quickly on Hamilton there. So I don't know if Hamilton's got damage. Meanwhile though, Frankie and Maze. Maze then down into P8. Frankie up into P7 then. And also got DRS as well, just to help him try and break away as much as he can. So Frankie then up into P7, Maze down into P8. So with 20 laps gone, with all the dramas going on the moment then. So we have Squeezy up in P1 with Fletcher in P2. While Squeezy is set to 1:16.1 as the fastest lap time. Lambo in P3, Spike in P4. Siege in P5, Hamilton P6, Frankie in P7, Maze in 8th, Rapid in 9th, Alan K 10th, Plaster in 11th, Saki Kid 12th, Maximus 13th, and Charlie in P14 there. And your 4 retirements is Jack, C3, Poe, and Sinclair then. Meanwhile though, Spike is into the pits. Spike is into the pits, making his one and only stop. And that's not exactly his box there whatsoever. Good little glitch there from Cody Masters there, and go straight through like a drive-through, like you go for McDonald's or KFC. Meanwhile though, Spike is coming out to the pits, and he's coming into, looks like P8, just ahead of Rapid there. So Spike there timing his pit stop there to perfection, and getting himself out ahead of Rapid. Alan K is also into the pits as well. So Alan is into the pits there for Ferrari. Going on a serve ultras. Actually getting them up to the end. Where is Maximus? Maximus is coming down straight. This is crucial there for Alan. Alan now has to settle behind Maximus then. So Alan then will have to go a little bit of a charge to catch up to Maximus there to go for attack. Meanwhile though, Plaster there on the back of Saki then. What can Plaster do? He's chasing down the back of that Toro Rosso. Saki then just trying to pull away from Plaster. Then Plaster just has to settle for now for P11. This is for the battle of the points. Plaster though on 20 laps old time super softs there. So doing an amazing job so far there out there for Plaster. I think his stars will just probably start to lose a little bit in performance, but still not giving up whatsoever. Meanwhile though, Frankie then gets overtakes Hamilton then. So Hamilton then, don't know what's happening with Hamilton. Maybe don't know if he's got any front wing damage. Doesn't appear to be. Maybe just a case of making an error like he did a lap before, a couple of laps ago. Meanwhile though, Maze and Spike there in the background there as well. Spike just recently made a pit stop then, so on fresh set tyres. And we'll take the back of Maze, but gets away with it. Maybe just a case of netcoding, not what you want, but Spike there just gets away with it for now. Looks like no wing damage there on Spike, so he is lucky there to get away with. Meanwhile, Plaster and Saki Kid are into the pits, but Spike though not giving up. Maze is on the back of Hamilton there, so Hamilton then is not having a good moment so far in this race. And Hamilton and Spike there get through on Maze and Spike get free on Hamilton then. So Hamilton then must have some kind of problem. He must have like least front wing damage, because Hamilton is starting to drop back, and he's dropped back down into P8. So not good there for Hamilton in this respectful. Meanwhile though, Alan and Maximus then battling out on track for the points position. Alan then goes up into P10, and Hamilton then is retired from the race. So Hamilton then the wing damage, and he's now retired from the race. So Hamilton then not having the greatest of race here. He will not be truly happy with that. Be disappointed with the performance, and it's a shame unfortunately he has to retire the car. So Hamilton then will join the list of drivers so far, being the 5th retirement from the Mexican Grand Prix. Especially a long string of races then. It's just come to the end there for Hamilton. Meanwhile though, That promotes Annika up into P9 and Maximus into P10. Meanwhile though, there is a coasted car that is glitched, which I do not know. All the things you see on the stream is unreal. Meanwhile, Maximus is into the pits when changing the front wing, so obviously picked up damage. Coming out into P13. So then, with the field now starting to spread out a bit, just a bit calm of the nerves. Obviously just to settle, keep himself going. Meanwhile though, Charlie and Maximus then going for a position and battling out. And Charlie then up into P12 and Maximus down into P13, although they've got to be very careful though. There is, I believe, a lap car, leading cars coming through. That is a Williams. Is that a Williams or Fletcher by any chance? Yes it is. So Fletcher then is coming up to the back markers. You just got to be a bit wary. They're both battling out here. So Fletcher just got to be on his toes. And that's Charlie. That is Charlie off on the grass, and that's Maximus as well. So Charlie again exploring that track, part of the track limits outside on the grass again. He does not like that section, and that's the third time so far today that he's been off on that part of the track. So Charlie not looking very confident around Mexico. Meanwhile though, Spike though looking confident, trying to see if he can go past on Frankie. Battle for P5. Force India versus McLaren. Spike though on the softer compounds to Frankie and younger life as well. So Spike is on the charge, and he's on the charge for a good decent amount of points here. He's going for an overtake, going around the outside. Can he get done? Yes he does. And that's how you do it from the season 1 world champion on Spike up into P5. Frankie there just had to settle for P6. Although we'll get the arrest on Spike, but I don't think he will pressure Spike too much. Spike will be pulling away as much as he can, trying to break the window, especially for the next lap round, so he's got himself covered. Although Spike's got a little bit longer of a gap to try and catch up to Fletcher. Tall order, but anything can happen so far, and it does generally happen in Formula 1. So Spike then now pulled away. He's now got a second gap advantage on Frankie, so when he comes to the next detection zone, he has got himself covered. Although Frankie is not giving up yet whatsoever, wanting to try and get back on Spike. And this is so far in the moment closest battle out on track. So Spike then pulling amazing masterclass so far, and doing an absolute good job as much as he can for McLaren. Potentially was going for the world champion this year, but obviously missing, well this season in particular, but unfortunately missing a few races due to commitments outside has hampered his hopes a little. But he's still doing a good job as much as he can though, and try to maximise as much of his performance as he can to help the constructors. The McLarens are still well up there for the tenors of getting points as well. And with Squeezy up there on top form along with Spike, this will throw the constructors into their favour, especially now they need Spike to get the points up as much as they can. So Spike they're doing a sterling job there for McLaren in trying to get them back up on top. Meanwhile though, our race leader Squeezy there, also Spike's teammate as well, especially for tonight, eyeing up from the move, potentially take P1. He has got a nice little buffer there to second place, or Lambo in P2 with 18.6. So Squeezy then rallying the points there to help McLaren, and so far doing an amazing job in getting up on top of the field. Meanwhile though, Siege though in P3 there, he is being chased by Fletcher just 2 seconds up the road, although you probably see a little speck off the right, I should say not exactly fully covered in Martini Williams, but all we know in our eyes is Martini Williams. But Siege though, knowing that Fletcher is starting just to close in a little bit on him, but not at the quick rate of knots. So CG will just have to be on his guard a little bit and trying to protect himself as much as he can. Meanwhile though, Saki Kid and Plaster here, but coming up to the battle for the last lot of the points. Not much laps left in it at all. Just with about at least 10 more laps to go. Plaster then starting to feel a bit of pressure, knowing that he has got Toro Rosso, Saki Kid coming up behind him. And Plaster will want to try all his might just to keep the points he can. And trying to help Ferrari get the maximum points that they can. Meanwhile though, Saki's got DRS. He's going down the outside. Has he got the move done by turn 1? He'll have to go the long way round. And yes he does. Saki Kid then up into the points, and Plaster then unfortunately just slipping out the points. But not all over yet. There's still plenty more laps left to do. Plaster's just got to maintain on the back of him and trying to get the points as much as he can. Aiming for something like anything happens to him, like another retirement, they'll get Plaster back into the points. But still ongoing at the moment. Meanwhile though, Frankie is into the pits. Frankie is into the pits then, so he doesn't look confident of getting those super softs to the end. It'll be another set of ultras. This will promote other drivers then to overtake. The question is, can Maze overtake Frankie? Frankie's now just coming off towards the exit of the pit lane. It's just going to be tight. Maze though will be up on speed along with Rapid. Maze then jumps Frankie, so is Rapid then, so Frankie then is down into P8 and Slot just behind these two that are battling at the moment. Maze then will be under pressure from not just one car, he'll be under pressure by two. Especially one of them's got a brand new fresh set of ultra softs on. Rapid then making a mistake, and Frankie then punishes him for him on a brand new set of ultras. So Frankie then getting the move done on Rapid. Now Frankie then will just have to get behind Maze and attack him for 6th place. Although we will have to switch up because there's an overtake going on for the last podium position on the grid. And as Fletcher then going up into P3, Siege down into P4. So Siege then will just have to settle it for now. Fletcher then up into P3 for the time being. Meanwhile there is yellow flags out in sector 2. But meanwhile though, Maze now under pressure again from Frankie. Meanwhile though, Rapid then, what's happened to Rapid? Oh, Rapid then made a mistake somewhere. That's probably why the yellow flags are out, because he's got front wing damage. So Rapid then will have to come in the pit surely. Depends on new change of front wing, and that's not going to help him at all. So this will also may promote other drivers behind him to get the points as well. Meanwhile though, switching back for battle for P6 here. Maze is still defending his line. Frankie then will be eyeing for a move. He's got DRS. Is it going to be a late lunge? He was going for it. Ooh, very close there, but Maze gets away with it. Very reasonable and fair there. Although he's still be on the threat now. Again, Frankie eyeing up for a move. This time, going down the inside. Heading down in towards turn 4. Has he got the move covered this time? Yes, he has. Up into P4 goes Frankie. No, not P4, P6. Maze is down into P7. And just has to settle there just for now. If he keeps reasonably close again, he'll get a DRS revenge attack again down the main straight. But easy said and done in this section. Meanwhile, the Rapid is into the pits and he comes out with a behind, or just behind Maximus, and Plaster then up into the points. Meanwhile, there is yellow flags in sector 3, which happily disappears again. So Maze now again on the back of Funky. This is going to be very close down the back on the main straight here. Maze will now have DRS. Just waiting for the detection point. Obviously the activation zone. Funky then keeping very inside there. Making one move already. Don't want to making too many more moves after that. He's going off towards the left. That's his second move down on the weave. And then obviously Maze then not close enough to go for attack. Although again, no, with Funky then on a brand new set of ultras, it will just defend him a little bit more easier for him with new fresher tyres. Maze is still not giving up whatsoever though. Maze now will just be like eyeing up to try and see if he can get move going. Gets it through the sector 2 and sector 3 if he knows it perfectly. Get himself right behind Funky. Again, he can go for the move, but at the moment, Funky is with a brand new set of ultras. He'll be trying to pull away as much as he possibly can. Meanwhile, though, bit of the field there, just spreading out towards near the end of the race. But still long on going at the moment. Meanwhile, though, Charlie in P13 coming into the pit stop. What's it be for Toro Rosso? And he's going to go for a set of hyper softs. He's going to go for a set of hypers. He's got nothing to lose, and also the front wing change as well, so maybe got a little bit of damage somewhere. Obviously, he's having a good debut, but not in terms of points, but he'd be just happy to get from start to finish. Having a few spins here and there, but keeping it all going. Meanwhile, there is the other facts in Sector 2 and Sector 3, which again, happily disappears. For let's see. Meanwhile, though, Charlie they need to get out in front there, or Saki Kid. No way you want to do. Teammates get in front of each other, especially if you're a lap down. So, meanwhile, though, Rapid then living up to his name with a 1:15.5 then. So Rapid then setting up the fastest lap so far of the night then. See if anyone else can challenge that. If anyone's outside the points going for the move, go for it. Meanwhile, though, Spike is into the pits. So Spike is into the pits, making his second stop, and he's going for a set of hypers. Keep an eye on Spike. I'm sure he'll pump in the fastest lapper somewhere. But the question is, where is Funky? Funky's now coming on the straight. Spike then looks like she's coming out. He's going to be close. And then yeah, Spike there just out. Reasonably a bit ahead of Funky then. So Spike then in P5, Funky still in P6. Meanwhile, though, top two, particularly of Fletcher there, who's reeled in Lambo here very reasonably quickly here. Battle for P2, squeezing meanwhile, picking up another penalty, not going to help him at all. But Lambo, though, starting to come under pressure now, with only 3 more laps left remaining. Fletcher is on a charge, obviously not got DRS this time around, but will be if he gets close for next time round. He will go for attack on Lambo. Although they're both our teammates, completely doubtful there'll be team orders here whatsoever. Well, this is what we like to see. 2 Williams there battling out. Lambo though starting to come a bit more under pressure from his teammate. Lambo though on a harder compound and older set tyres to Fletcher's Ultra Softs on 10 laps. Fletcher though will be eyeing up a move as much as he can to try and overtake Lambo. Again, where is he going to find somewhere to overtake his teammate? And also doing it with reasonably fairly as well, because they both want points. Fletcher will just have to hang on just for now. He will get DRS on his teammate from now. He's just got to wait for the activation zone, which is on the main straight, just after where the lights are. Fletcher then eyeing up a good move here. And he will have DRS. Lambo, there will be defences here. Lambo then keeping in reasonable room there for his teammate. Not forcing any squeezes whatsoever. And Fletcher then up into P2 then. So Fletcher then got the move done his teammate. Lambo not giving up whatsoever. Although he will still be a disadvantage unless he gets a good run here. Lambo there with back end wants to come out. Tucking in again behind his teammate. Fletcher then with DRS to help him out. And Fletcher there just maintaining P2. Although with Lambo on 18 lap hole super softs, he'll probably be at the same cylinder performance as Fletcher. Meanwhile, though, Spike's sending the fastest lap now, so Spike then claiming the fastest lap award. Is anyone else up there that's going to claim it very quickly? But Fletcher though getting up into P2, trying to break away from his teammate. Lambo though is not letting him break away whatsoever. And this is the closest battle out here on track at the moment. The 2 Williams boys not letting team orders get in the way whatsoever, battling out. Lambo then just has to settle for P3. Has he got DRS to help him out though? Yes, he's got within range though. Maybe just got him within range, so he needs to close that gap up very quickly. The straights will help him, especially down the main straight and after this section here. Lambo then again back in, wants to step out. Showing a sign that his tyres are starting just to drop off a little bit more in terms of grip and pace. But Fletcher though will be thrilling, not threatened from his teammate unless Fletcher makes a mistake somewhere. There's the only opportunity where Lambo can strike back, but still just within the second range. A little bit of a duel to the end for the Williams boys. Hopefully no heartbreak or no heartache whatsoever. Lambo then again going off track once again. It's not going to help him whatsoever. There is a Ferrari up ahead. Now, is that the Ferrari off Alan Kay or is that off Plaster? No, it's Plaster. So, the both Williams boys will be getting the arrest off Plaster and also off each other as well. Plaster then letting Fletcher through. And also now letting Lambo through. Meanwhile though, we are now onto the final lap as well. So we've got to keep an eye out where Squeezy is as well in terms of this. Meanwhile though, the Williams boys are still dueling. Lambo they benefiting from this and getting right close up into the back of Fletcher then. There's the yellow flag in sector 2. Hopefully it hasn't caused any too many upsets. Meanwhile though, the Williams boys are still going hammer and tongs. It's going to be very tight and close here. Again, the yellow flag still reappearing in sector 2. But meanwhile though, whilst them two are dueling out, we are focusing on this man, Squeezy. Starting from nearby the front. Get an amazing start. Leading it through. Getting through turn 1's melee. And since then, maintain lead. Come round the last corner now. And Squeezy then wins the Mexican Grand Prix then. So Squeezy then will take P1. Meanwhile though, the Williams boys are still dueling out. He'll get P2 and P3. It'll be very close. There are back markers in the way. This could impact anything. Alan Kay then keeping out the way there for the Williams boys. Oh, very close there. But Fletcher then will take P2 though. Lambo will take P3. So Fletcher then up into P2. And Lambo they will take P3. But Siege though. Siege takes P2. So Siege takes P2 out of this due to penalties. Fletcher's down into P3. Lambo down into P4. Spike will be the next car over the line. And he's pushing that McLaren to its bare limits. Saki Kid, Alan K, Plaster, Maximus and Charlie, they're finishing but the lap's down, so it's rapid. But Spike then coming over the line and takes P5 then. Next car over the line will be, once I get the right cameras going, it will be Funky. It will be the next line and he's in P6 and Maze will be the last one to come over the line in P7. But your race winner for today around Mexico for TTFL round 19 is Squeezy. So then your top 3 then will be Fletcher along with Siege, but your race winner then is Squeezy there for McLaren. Wow, what an interesting race from 18 drivers pushing all their might and everything, and Squeezy there coming out on top with an amazing start there. So then the unofficials or the official results then, we have got Squeezy then in P1, Siege in P2, Fletcher P3, Lambo P4, Spike in P5, Funky in P6, Maze in P7, Saki Kid in P8, Alan K in P9, Plaster in P10 then, Rapid in P11, Maximus in P12, Charlie in P13 then. And unfortunately, the people that haven't finished the race unfortunately today is Hamilton, Jack, C3, Poe and Sinclair then. So who can I give for the driver of the day then? Who can I really give it to? Ooh, it's a bit close between Siege and Spike for me. But I'll probably give it to Siege then, keeping himself out of trouble. So Siege will be my driver of the day. So then, Siege will be like my driver of the day, but please feel free to vote in the comments of who you want for your driver of the day. Right then, we will see then if I can or interviews or do as much as I can, try and see if I get through. Bear in mind, also got notifications of people that are also on friend list who want to be interviewed as well. Let's see. Right, I'll try to be quick as I can and try not to minimise any disruptions. Right then, let's get people in as I have to sort that out. So... Just bear with me, everybody. I will try to get people in. Okie dokie, just bear with me. I'll try to get people in, see how we go from there. Right, I've sent invitations out, so hopefully the drivers will be responding to that very, very shortly. You too. Just give it her. Bring. Right then, so I've got first two people into my lovely little interview lounge, and the first person I'm going to be interviewing will be Rapid. Rapid, how are you?
I'm alright. I did bottle it in the race with the strategy I did. I played on lap 7 and tried to take supers to the end, and then on lap 25 the tyres were at 90% on the rears and just lost grip and hit the wall, lost my wing and just went for the fastest lap in the end.
There it is. You did like, you know, you had for the race day, you did have like a reasonably good start there, like obviously because you and Siege are not far from each other's grid spots, and you at one point you were battling very hard there for at the start for recently on the first stint with P5 along with the trainer Funky, yourself, Hamilton, Maze and Siege as well.
Well, yeah, I believe at the start because I thought formation lock was on, so I think a lot of people bogged down because of that. Because a few people ahead won hypers, so I was surprised that the ultras were that grippy. And then the battle with Hamilton, Funky, and a few other drivers behind was great. I enjoyed it. But the tyres at the start just felt really dead, and then near the end, like by lap 8, 9. They started to get grip, but then I pitted, so I enjoyed the race today. It could have gone better. I've got to give my teammate Siege credit. He got second, so well done to him. But other than that, I enjoyed the race.
Good man. You know when you said like with your tyres like feeling dead, were they just like no grip at all? Was it a case of track temperature rising, or could it be a case of tyre temperatures just not in the perfect window for you?
It was tyre temperatures were not a perfect window because my left front was at 106 and my right was at 104, so it was a bit unbalanced, and I had to get through that S section quite, quick as I could. That's why I ran wide against Alan Kay when I was on the supers. I think it was Alan Kay or Plaster, I can't remember.
Indeed. Obviously, like when you went to make a pit stop, I think it's just before you put on the hypers, I think you were like, were you pushing your car too hard, damaging your wing?
No. The hypers I didn't get down, it was on the supers I lost it to get damage to my wing. When I pitted I went hypers because I thought, I'm gonna try and go fastest lap. And I got it at the time, and then Spike beat my lap, so well done to him. And it's not a good track for tyre temps. It's alright with tyre wear, but I can't complain that much. Any track's better than Singapore, so you know.
Yeah, we'll all be
I
going
enjoyed
there.
it.
Indeed, good job, good job. So with the next race then coming up in Brazil, how do you set your hopes on that one?
Um, Probably top 6. Hopefully, I'm not aiming for the win or podium because I'm not VSR Lambo's pace. I'm not Hamilton's pace at all yet. So, probably 6th to 10th area. Hopefully, to get some points. We'll just see how it goes and see how the tyre strategy is.
Indeed. Still though, you did a good sterling job there for Mercedes and for yourself. And hopefully we'll see you in Brazil next Friday.
Yep, thank you very much, mate.
You're very welcome. Take care, Rapid, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
So then, the next driver then to be interviewed then would be Frankie. Frankie, how are you?
Yeah, fine. I think I'm happy with the race. Had a really good start because I think everyone thought there was going to be a formation lap and just back out a bit. So in the first lap I was 5th, and after that I was losing grip constantly, so I fall down to 7th or 8th and decided to pit, fight with Alan, did an illegal overtake, so decided to give him back the position. And after that I didn't have too much battle, you know. Did another stop and overtook mate and finished 6th.
Indeed, you've done like a very good job there on your making your debut race tonight, and like you know getting involved in good fair battles there, and you know showing your talent and everything with the likes of battling with Rapid, Siege, Maze, even season 3 world champion very recently Hamilton. So do you feel like today obviously was good debut pace?
I could have done better, but I didn't have too much time to train on Mexico. Obviously, I don't have the pace from the leaders, guys, but yeah, I'm really happy with the pace shown today because I was a bit nervous, you know, first race, and as you said before, I had great battles, and also hope that Hamilton retire in the end. So yeah, really happy.
Good job, good job. So then, obviously with the next track coming up in Brazil, how do you feel and confidence in that one?
I like a lot Brazil as well as Abu Dhabi, so I think the next 2 races are gonna be actually fun for me. I don't know where I am because I barely know most of the drivers, you know, and this is my first race here. But obviously I'm aiming for the points and have some good battles in the race.
Good job there, Frankie.
Thank you.
But, so obviously with Brazil though, you'll be just aiming to get the points and just aiming for a good finish. Again, showing another good performance.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Great job to have you here, and welcome to the league. And hopefully we'll see you in Brazil next Friday.
Okay, see ya.
You're welcome. Take care, Frankie. Next person to be interviewed, just keep a track on it. Will be the one and only good man, Spike. Spike, how are you?
Hello, mate.
Hello, buddy. How are you doing? You alright?
Not bad, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad then. So, with qualifying then, you opted to not set a lap time. What was your reason behind that one?
I could sit here and go, yeah, I didn't want to set a lap, but I tried. Made a mistake on my ultra run, and then the super soft run I made a mistake in the middle sector, and then tried to carry more speed through the next corner and invalidated the lap. So, but it didn't really matter. I was quite happy to start at the back.
So you got for the old charge from the back of the field then. Showing off like on your super soft stint from the back, you showing up good reason pace there. You know, getting through your field steadily then. How do you feel? Was that a good challenge there for you? Good enjoyment?
Well, I didn't realise there wasn't a formation lap, so everybody left the grid, And I sat there and waited for 7 to 8 seconds so I could have a bit of clear track to, warm my tyres up. And I didn't realise until I was going down to turn 3, and I realised I could look at my fuel and my tyre wear, which you can't do on a formation lap, and I was like, "Are we racing?" And I was like, "We're racing," and I'd lost so much time mucking around. I mean, I wasn't the only one looking at the chat, but that caught me out massively. When I did finally get going, yeah, the pace was reasonable. Obviously, by the time the other guys caught me up when I was near the top of near the front, obviously my tyres were not very, compared to their fresh tyres, were nowhere. But I was really pleased. I've mucked around with the setup a bit and managed to keep the tyres well within the limits today, which is good. This track's normally can be quite, especially on the rears, but no, it was all good. Even the hypers at the end, when because I wasn't very happy that Mr. Rapid stole my lap time, so I borrowed on a set of ultras hypers at the end.
And you did claim the fastest lap.
Took it back. Yeah, took it back. Yeah.
When I saw Rapid then, try to take the fastest lap, I was thinking, taking the fastest lap, I'm thinking, okay, I think Spike's gonna go for a fastest lap, and you didn't prove me wrong. You literally went out there and got it.
It wasn't the greatest lap, I must admit. I made quite a large mistake in the middle sector, but I was wondering whether I was going to get it, but I got it just, so I'll take it.
Good man. You take the fastest lap of war today, for sure. So then, obviously, going into Brazil then for next Friday. Where would you like to
be there?
If you be there.
If I'm going to be there, yeah.
If you are going to be there, though, where would you set yourselves to be, or are you just giving it a surprise?
No, I've no idea. I mean, I haven't raced in Friday for a while, and there's a few new drivers in here, and they're all pretty quick. So, yeah, I have no idea. I love Brazil, the track, but I'm not. It's one of those that I love, but I'm not that good at. But we'll see.
Fair it is, buddy. Fair it is. Hopefully, we will see you in Brazil. If not, then Abu Dhabi.
Well, I hate Abu Dhabi, so out of the two, it'll be Brazil. So
fair it is.
We'll see.
Fair it is, my man. Fair it is. Well, thank you for joining me in the box, anyway, Spike, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we will see you next Friday.
Take care, mate.
You will too, mate. Take care. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
So then, by the looks of it, don't have nobody else join in, so we're going to call it a night on the stream then. So, on Sunday we have got the TTL F2, which will be, tracks will be racing on there on Sunday, courtesy of the commentators of Nexus Jack. So I hope you can join Jack on there for 8 PM for the Italian Grand Prix, followed by next race at 8:45 for the Singapore Grand Prix. So I hope you can join Jack on Sunday for that one. And then we'll go on to Tuesday, where we'll be live for the TTL F1, which will be with Mr. Kieran McGinley himself in the box for the Russian Grand Prix. So I hope you can join him there on Tuesday. And on Thursday, Andy will be back with Kieran for the Japanese Grand Prix on Thursday at 8 PM. So I hope you can join them too as well for Tuesday and Thursday. And I will be back next Friday at 8 PM, so don't miss that. It will be live in Brazil. So we'll be seeing all the fun and games and excitement coming up for Brazil. For the meantime though, thank you so much for watching TTTV and the TTFL League. It's been amazing and pleasure for your guys' support as always, for watching me doing the comms box and watching the guys up there doing an absolute good job there, having a great amazing races throughout. So till then, till next Friday, thank you so much for joining me. I've been Steph, take care and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.